Subscribers, I have to tell you about Back to the Future. It's ironic that a movie about time travel is timeless. Quote by Michael J. Fox. Experience the future all over again with the Back to the Future 30th Anniversary Trilogy. Join Marty McFly, Doc Brown, and a time-traveling DeLorean for the adventure of a lifetime as they travel to the past, present, and future, setting off a time-shattering chain reaction that disrupts the space-time continuum. From filmmakers Steven Spielberg, Robert Zemeckis, and Bob Gale, this unforgettable collection features hours of bonus features and is an unrivaled trilogy that stands the test of time. Now, I'm here to tell you why Back to the Future, to me, really stands out as an icon of popular culture and film. What really makes Back to the Future unique, special, and memorable to me as a theatrical blockbuster from the mid-1980s is that it doesn't have much of the expensive stuff one would normally expect to make a big screen blockbuster film successful. Let me explain. The first Back to the Future film had a budget of $19 million, which was used to be $16 million until they had to add an extra, until Bob Gale and Robert Zemeckis had to add an extra $3 million to the budget to reshoot most of the scenes they previously did with C. Thomas Howell and Eric Stoltz before they figured out how to work around Michael J. Fox's schedule with the third season of Family Ties. See, during the same year was when he was in Family Ties, when he started making Family Ties, the TV show. C. Thomas Howell was in the movie E.T., and Eric Stoltz was in the movie Fast Times at Ridgemont High. So if you want to, so I would recommend you check out those films if you want to see, if you want to imagine how different Marty McFly could have looked and sounded.
Swear it. The most excellent promise you can make. Swear as my only brother on our lives.
Don't get so heavy, I swear.
Amanda Jones is no minor leaguer who'll be swept off her feet at the touch of your amateur lips.
Thanks.
This babe has plenty of battle scars.
I think I can handle it.
He had this crazy idea about breeding pine trees.
This is heavy duty, Doc. This is great.
The first Back to the Future film had a budget of $19 million, and then the second and third Back to the Future films, which were, I think, filmed back-to-back as one film, probably, you know, like the Lord of the Rings trilogy, or the last movie in the Harry Potter and Hunger Games series. Together they had a shared budget of $40 million. Unless this was a combined budget of $80 million, I'm going to assume that they used the same $40 million on that. Robert Zemeckis and Bob Gale used the same $40 million on both films. Use the same $40 million between both over the course of both films. So yeah, it makes sense why together why their budget would be like slightly over double the budget of the first movie. And funny thing about that is that the first Back to the Future film is also, that film's budget is also half the budget of the second and third Spy Kids films. You know, they have $38 million, and the first Spy Kids film had a budget of $35 million. Okay, now on to the box office numbers of Back to the Future, okay? So, the first Back to the Future film made history as the first highest grossing film of 1985 at $388.8 million. Then the second Back to the Future film was the third highest grossing film of 1989 with the what was it? $332.9 million at the box office. And then Back to the Future Part 3 was the 6th highest grossing film of 1990 with, it grossed $245.1 million at the box office. Yeah, what I really like and respect about the production of Back to the Future is that, yeah, if you have a really, really, really good story like Bob Gale and Robert Zemeckis did, you can be the highest. This is a very rare case study that sets a good precedent in my mind, that you can be the highest grossing film of all year. You can be the highest grossing film of your year without relying on any A-list celebrities or flashy, over-the-top special effects to sell your film. Right? All you really needed were, if you're writing a little scale, low budget comedic sci-fi film like Back to the Future, all you really need to be your leading men are the two very funny leading actors of television situation comedies to carry your film and your story, and the chemistry of friendship between the two main characters of opposite generations. You have the comedic stylings of Christopher Lloyd from Taxi, rambling, allegedly insane old man, and Michael J. Fox from Family Ties, a clueless, inquisitive young boy. Now, out of everybody in Back to the Future's main cast, the only one who actually went on to be a long-term movie star who felt confined by TV out of all the new coming actors was Crispin Glover, but that isn't really but that's not actually the reason why he decided to not return the sequels. Back to the Future was the 4th ever acting credit of Thomas F. Wilson, and it was also the first acting credit of Billy Zane, who was who you might remember from many other films such as Titanic. Even after Billy Zane had made a name for himself in Going Overboard and Dead Calm, I really like the fact that Billy Zane still returned to reprise his little role of Match, one of Biff Tannen's Three Goons.
50 seconds later.
So while Crispin Glover was the only main cast member of the first Back to the Future film who felt confined by television, I noticed that Lea Thompson, Thomas F. Wilson, James Tolkien, and Mary Steenburgen didn't feel the same way, since they went on to play main characters in the later television shows of Caroline in the City for Lea Thompson, Wing Commander Academy for Thomas F. Wilson, Cobra for James Tolkien, and Joan of Arcadia for Mary Steenburgen. And they've also been in many more TV shows that I don't have time to get into right now. That's what I love about Back to the Future, and what really makes it a special, memorable film trilogy to me. It knew how to craft a very smart and relatable story without relying on any big-name actors or over-the-top special effects to make it happen. And at the same time, another very good precedent that it set is that it weakened it really helped dissolve the border between television acting and film acting. Back to the Future has a low budget that makes it look like it could have been a TV movie, but I'm very proud of Bob Gale and Robert Zemeckis for aiming higher, to really shoot for the moon, like almost nothing you've seen in widely distributed in the movie theaters before. When you look at the pattern of other films surrounding it, it's very clear that as far as big screen events go, Back to the Future isn't your typical romantic comedy starring Woody Allen or Diane Keaton, or action comedy starring Goldie Hawn and Kurt Russell. Because Michael J. Fox and Christopher Lloyd are both television comedy actors who really knew how to bring that same comedic talent with them to the big screen in a trilogy of 3 films together.